dress flip-flops on, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings boy to life. Be with the fuse you light, good, you're dynamite. You made my day when you walked into town beside me, whispered with your eyes, let's go. You made me say, what's your name, girl, you're lonely. Can I call you if I ever go down this road? And I can't seem to find the thing I want.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds worth of sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this July the 11th, 2023. Today's show is brought to you by Caldera Labs and calderalab.com. Use promo code 1420lab at calderalab.com and save yourself 20% off. They're all natural men's skin care products, the best in the business in men's skin care. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com and bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts such as Craft Brewed Sports, No Credentials Required, and the Sports Stove podcast, all great podcasts, all kinds of sports and football and baseball and hockey and everything else underneath the sun. My Tuesday night staple is Craft Brewed Sports. Make sure you guys tune in to that one as well. Thank you for making us a part of your day each and every day, whether it be at the podcast form or here on YouTube and everywhere else. Took a bit of time off this last week, had a bit of a gauntlet of baseball games going through everything else. Went to the Calgary Stampede, the Chuck Wagon races on Friday night, which was a great time to get back there. Been a long time since I've seen the Chuck Wagons live. It was a lot of fun, a lot of people. There was something that I'm not that used to here in Lethbridge, Alberta. There was more people at the Stampede grounds, I think, than in all of Lethbridge, and especially more than are in my hometown of Fort Macleod. But it was great to be at the Calgary Stampede and take a little bit of a break away from the microphone a little bit and just kind of take not the mental health thing, but just to just turn it off for a little bit once in a while. You got to do that, as everybody knows, in whatever you do in your life. Anyways, the unofficial halfway point of the Major League Baseball season is upon us with the All-Star game happening tonight in Seattle. The home run hitting contest went last night with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., matching his father, Vladimir Guerrero Sr., who won the title in 2007 at Pac Bell Park, or AT&T Park. It was probably called back there in San Francisco in 07. But Vladdy outdid it last night, and he got himself a title. Who knows where this might turn his swing. It might be that infamous shouldn't have went in this thing, affected my swing. I'm tired the whole bit. You never know what the home run contest can come up with and the excuses that these players can come up with after the home run contest. But congratulations to Vladdy Guerrero Jr. for getting that title last night. But tonight's the showcase of the game that has a lot of baseball fans, whether you're a big baseball fan or mediocre baseball fan or just a once in a while fan. But the All-Star game is a big one tonight. There's a lot of great talent great young talent, not just great talent in baseball, and it's a great thing for the game. And I think this game is in a better spot than most people would have expected. I personally think we are seeing what might be one of the greatest eras of talent in baseball. I think we're seeing a situation now where we're going back to the early to mid 90s when there was a guy by the name of Ken Griffey Jr. and some guy named Jeter who came up. This era of baseball right now, there's a lot of talent, a lot of skill that's happening out there. There are some obviously also rans. There is some things broken about the game, but in general, I think the game's in a really good spot right now, not only with the talent, but with the emergence of some teams. We're going to get into those guys in a little bit, but the emergence of some teams, and it's not just spend a bunch of money and you're going to win baseball games. I think that the baseball's in a very good spot. Let's just hope that they don't step on their own dink like they usually find a way to do. But I think that baseball's in a very good spot right now, that throughout the leagues, there's a lot of parity going on. I think what they did in the offseason last year, implementing these rules, bringing them up through the minor leagues over time, and seeing what was going on and how this could possibly work. And I think everything that baseball has done so far it has been a hit. Pardon the pun, I guess. But it has worked out 100% that it's going very well for baseball, Major League Baseball. The attendance every weekend, they're talking about all-time records and all-time highs and people going to games. And even though, people complain about the economy and everything else, which we're trying not to do, and we try to get political here at 1420 World Headquarters. But, people talk about money being tight and everything else. People are finding a few bucks here and there to go to baseball games in record droves. It's crazy how when teams win and when you have fan bases that haven't been relevant for a long time, the Cincinnati Reds, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the like, that people start to go to baseball games because no matter what, I know football is king throughout the United States and everything else, but in general, people still like going to baseball games. America's pastime. I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. And with the emergence of young stars throughout the game, I think you're going to see a lot of good things happening with this game. The game is in really good shape right now. There is more action because of the pitch clock. It's not, you don't get less baseball. It's just compressed baseball, right? So we've been through this. We had our little I don't know what the word is for our little classroom session about how it all works out a while ago when the rules first came out. But you have a lot of things going on. That's great. Extra action on the bases. A lot more guys stealing because pitchers can't throw over as often. You have more flair on the defensive side of the ball because you have guys who are having to make plays because the shift's not intact. So you have guys diving up the middle like they used to or going back. So there is a lot more action on the defensive side of the ball because a lot of people like that side of things as well. And then you have pitchers who are still striking out a lot of guys, which is still a bit high. But if you notice the teams that are striking out a lot, and I don't want to bring them up a whole bunch until later on today, I'm going to do a State of the Union address for the New York Yankees, but at their halfway point. But you see all the teams that aren't striking out a lot are having a lot more success in baseball, and it's going a lot better for the teams that are doing things. Stolen bases are up. Batting averages are up. Teams are playing a lot better, and it's a lot more entertaining brand of baseball. You're seeing a little bit more small ball here and there, which people tend to like. You have the baseball purists like myself who like seeing that kind of stuff, and so it's actually helping the game out a lot. But the biggest thing that's making this game so great right now is that you have a lot of great young stars that are 25 minutes. Goes on and on. I wish I had the time to go through all the great stars that are part of the game. But look at this one. I was driving home last night, mess, and I had that CB, the light streaks and all that. The game a little bit. We're sitting in the dressing room a little bit for 45 minutes because so the game ended a bit late. So I'm back from left box and I was listening to I can't even remember what it was, but it was on Sirius XM. It was basically what it was Ronald Jr. hands down, he's blocking inside a situation where he's playing baseball for whatever reason. The second half, he's pretty much a lock right now to be the MVP. He has the best selling jersey in baseball, and I was quite shocked at that. Ohtani, but it is Ronald Acuna here, who's like I said, to be the MVP. I haven't done it to anybody else, and it's the best celebrity in baseball. And it got me thinking a little bit. That doesn't surprise me a little bit because a lot of kids right now are buying jerseys and dads are buying jerseys for the kids. They were Braves fans growing up. You remember those teams in the 90s? Braves, no matter where you went, no matter what you saw, you'd always have, no matter what, there was a chance to watch the Braves play. And those Braves teams up in the 90s were quite fantastic and had a lot going on back then. So you watch those teams, how great they were. And then so you have a lot of Braves fans from coast to coast that are still Braves fans to this day. And so there's no surprise. Baseball is so generational. You get a lot of kids who will follow what at 15, so the Acuna Jr. selling jersey in all of baseball, and it doesn't hurt that the kid's the best player, not the best player, but probably the second best player in baseball right now. Take Mike Trout out of the equation because Acuna's a better baseball player, and obviously Ohtani's at a whole other level, and we don't want to spend another 45 minutes or a day or two talking about Ohtani because we'll talk about him later on, what I think is going to happen with him as that team goes into its slide without without Trout in the lineup. But you look at just Ronald Acuna Jr., how great he is. Then you got this De La Cruz kid is unbelievable in Cincinnati, how he's turned that team around. He had the 3 stolen base, I think it was a Sunday afternoon against Milwaukee, and that's something to behold. You don't see that very often, but he's bringing people out of their seats, and it's exciting. You got Corbin Carroll in Arizona. Yeah, he's out right now, and that Arizona team has taken a bit of a slide, but just because he's been out, but also because the Dodgers, they're back to being normal. But you look at him, you look at Juan Soto in San Diego. Yes, San Diego is a bad baseball team. Yes, San Diego does have problems. Yes, San Diego does have 3 or 4 or 5, I don't even know anymore, $300 million players, and they're probably one of the biggest disappointments in baseball. But Juan Soto, you can say what you want about him. He might be a headache in the locker room, because that's what I think part of the problem is in San Diego. But you look at him, he's one of the most electrifying players in baseball right now, and he puts asses in the seats. And the way nobody can take a ball 4 quite like him when he walks. It's very entertaining. But you see him. You got Julio Rodriguez in Seattle last night, hit 41 home runs in the home run contest. Yeah, yes, it is a home run contest, but it's electrifying the way these guys play the game, and they play it hard, and they have a little bit of flair, and they have a little bit of that panache, I guess, to get people out of their seats and bring kids to the ball game, because that's what kids like to see nowadays. The bat flips, everything else. The old time guys might not like it. The old time guys might not understand the whole thing and why it's entertaining. But at the end of the day, sport is entertainment, and these guys are doing it. You also got, always forget, like Bo Bichette and Vladdy Guerrero Jr., they've been around Canadian TV for so long. With the Toronto Blue Jays, you forget that those guys are under the age of 25. So it's quite entertaining to see that you have all these great players under the age of 25 that are going to bring this game to the next level. And like I said, as long as baseball doesn't screw things up, because that's what baseball tends to do. Old Robbie Manfred finds a way to screw up anything. He screwed the Lord's Prayer if it wasn't tattooed to his briefs or whatever. I can't remember what the saying was. But anyways, it's one of those things that baseball is in a really, really good spot right now, that you have teams that are relevant that shouldn't have been relevant. And then you have teams that aren't, that should have been relevant that aren't. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. The league's in great shape, and you wonder how it's all going to, how it can get better. You wonder what's going to happen with some of these teams who are playing a bit above their heads, or is this just what they got? Like, you look at some teams that are bringing up guys from the minors, and it's working out, so their farm systems are quite good. And you have other teams that can't do anything right, so their farm teams are just as bad as well. So it's interesting to see what might go. You look at Arizona, who was they're on pace to have 95 or so wins. They were supposed to only win about 72, 73 games. You have Baltimore on pace to win 97. You have Cincinnati on pace to win 88, and they were supposed to win 64. And then you have the Miami Marlins, who aren't going to catch the powerhouse Atlanta Braves. Nobody's catching the Atlanta Braves. I think they're a World Series champion as of right now, as we record this at 11:23 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on the 11th day of July. But I think that they're going to be a real tough beat come playoff time, come October. But Miami has a team right now that's going to do a lot of damage and should be in a national wildcard spot without a doubt, in my opinion. It's crazy how it's all turned out, and you have teams like the Mets and the I won't talk about the Yankees a whole bunch. The Yankees that haven't done anything, the Phillies who are getting a little bit better. They're playing a little bit better baseball right now with their huge payroll. But then you have the San Diego Padres, who just can't get out of their own way, and then obviously the Mike Trout and the Ohtani thing in Anaheim. So you just wonder how it's all going to play out and how it's all going to wind up at the end of the season here on October 1st, the last Sunday of the regular season. I hope that the people who watch baseball forget that the NFL is on that day, because that's always a great day for baseball, the last day of the regular season, when they start all the games at 3:00 Eastern time. And I hope that there's 3 or 4 playoff spots still up for grabs on that day, like there was, I think, in 2021, I think it was, how it was just a phenomenal end of the season, and there was 4 or 5 playoff spots left for grabs. And I hope baseball does it, because it's a great day. And if people who don't who think they should watch Week 5 of the NFL season, they're missing out big time to be baseball fans and sports fans, because all the games start at the same time, they finish around the same time, so there's no waiting around to see what happens. So it's one of the greatest days in sports, in my opinion. It ranks right up there with the NCAA tournament and everything else that happens. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all turns turns out and how it all works out. But baseball is in a really, really good spot right now. I think you have a league that kind of figured it out. Maybe Manfred and the old guys are kind of going to the wayside a little bit, and they're letting the voices carry a little bit and letting a generation. Maybe they're just watching how kids are coming to the ballpark. If you will listen to Aaron and Dave, Dave's moonlighting on me a little bit. We'll get to that in half a second. But Aaron and Dave were talking about on Dave co-hosted or was a guest on Aaron's show on Brutally Honest Sports. They were talking about getting kids in the building, and if you get kids in the building, the parents want to go right. One of those things, and kids are really enjoying baseball right now. Something that didn't happen for they have some sexy players there. There's some dramatic players. They have guys who flair for dramatics, and it's a good spot entertainment wise now. Whereas there was a spot in there where there wasn't a lot of guys that were putting asses in the seats and the like Paul Goldschmidt's a hell of a player, but you don't see many people walking around with Paul Goldschmidt jerseys and the like. So it's interesting to watch to see how baseball is in a really good spot right now. And, there is one team that isn't going away anytime soon, but I think it's good for baseball anyways, because it still is good to have your big market teams. It is still good to have maybe not your New York Yankees, but it is good to have on the West Coast. You got to have that villain. Not that the Dodgers are a villain. I don't think anybody hates the Dodgers like people hate the Yankees, but it is good to have the Dodgers back atop the National League West and doing things that they were supposed to do. Kershaw's had a resurgence this year. I don't know when he's coming back from the IL stint. He had a little bit. I mean, he is a little bit older, so it's one of those things. But it's good to see that Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, they are everything's been advertised, and they've overtaken the Arizona Diamondbacks. Those two guys alone, their payroll's probably higher than the Arizona Diamondbacks. But it's one of those things where the Dodgers just aren't going away, even with their injuries, their depleted pitching staff. The Dodgers, like I said, with Freeman and Betts, have been unbelievable, and they just seem to be on a hot streak right now and don't seem to be stopped. It's going to be interesting to see how it all turns out and the way it's going to work out for the American League West. And if Corbin Carroll can come back and from the IL that he's on right now, whether he can push the Diamondbacks and get that Rookie of the Year locked up, because I think it's a lock he's going to get that, the way he's pushed that team to where it's going. It's a very good spot that baseball's in right now, and I like it. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game is tonight. Some people don't like it. Some people, it's just a made-for-TV event. Yeah, it is, but it's the only All-Star game that actually means anything. The rest of the All-Star games, you look at the basketball one's 170 points to 168. You got the no-hitter. The NFL Pro Bowl is a joke. The NHL All-Star Game is the most unentertaining thing going now. They've changed it to 3-on-3. It's an absolute farce. But the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, it's the only one that's a semblance of the actual game, because at the end of the day with baseball, a pitcher has to throw strikes and the guy has to swing at it, and the defense can go on display. And it's not really a contact sport, obviously. So it's always a great display of the best in baseball, and it should be a good one tonight. And hopefully people tune into that after you watch this or listen to 20, all the different shows we got going on. So it should be interesting to see how it all turns out. It should be very interesting to see the end of the season, how the second half turns out. It's going to be really interesting to see what the trade deadline, maybe I'll do that on Friday, what I suspect the trade deadline is going to be, and who's going to be moving, who's going to take some steps, who's going to dump salary, who's going to try to make a few changes to get their teams into the playoffs, because I don't think anything's a lock as of yet. There's some that are kind of, well, like I said, the Atlanta Braves are the only lock guaranteed, but after we do our little talk about our friends at Caldera Lab, we will I'll get you to my predictions for the division winners and the wild card winners in Major League Baseball once we talk about our friends from Caldera Labs. So, gentlemen, summer is is here actually, and as the sun shines brighter, your skin deserves the utmost attention. Fortunately, our friends at Caldera Lab are here to ensure your skin is well prepared for the season ahead. Ever since I incorporated Caldera Lab into my routine, taking care of my skin has never been simpler. Their products are clinically proven and help visibly reduce wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. Gain confidence and an impeccable first impression this summer. Don't miss out on joining the skincare revolution trusted by countless men. Use code 1420lab at calderalab.com/1420lab to enjoy an exclusive 20% off their finest products. Caldera Lab creates a high performance skincare. The regimen leaves off their product lineup twice a day routine to transform your skin. Inside this bundle, you'll find the clean slate, the base layer, and the good Caldera Dare Lab is made with top tier ingredients to keep your skin glowing and get wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging away. Avoid being the butt of jokes this summer with Caldera Labs, and get 20% off and free shipping by using promo code 1420lab at calderalab.com today. And get that skin looking great and everything else, because you just you don't want that leather skin or the orange skin of somebody else that's turned out. We're not talking about him, Brent. We try not to bring that guy up or any other political figures out there, but keep the leather face away from your skin. Leave that for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Anyways, Brent's Best Bet brought to you by Bodog. Here's my picks. I'll get the link up later on. My best bets for the prediction for division winner. The AL East, I'm taking the Baltimore Orioles to win that division. I think they're too strong. They got a little bit of mojo going with them, and I expected the Tampa Bay Rays to take a slide, which they are. I think the Baltimore's like 2.5 games out right now, so I expect the Baltimore Orioles to win. The AL East, I expect the talent to just overtake in the American League Central with the Minnesota Twins, and the American League West, even though the Texas Rangers have put together one hell of a run. They've been great. They have the best batting average, and Bruce Bochy's been a great addition to that team in Texas. I expect the Houston Astros to take their rightful spot in the American League West and win that division. In the National League, like I said, Atlanta's going to win that division. They're hands down, they're the best team in baseball. There's no getting around that. The National League Central, although the Cincinnati Reds are a great story right now, I expect Milwaukee to take that division. And then the NL West, the Dodgers will win that division. Like I said, Mookie Betts, Clayton Kershaw, and Freddie Freeman are just too strong right now. And the Dodgers, they are the perennial powerhouse in the National League West for a long, long time. And then maybe they'll take a run at Ohtani. Who knows what might happen there. It might be one of those things. But wild card teams, the American League, I got Texas, Toronto, and Tampa to make the wild card spots. In the National League, I got Arizona, Miami, and Philadelphia. Look for those teams to get into the wild card spot in the National League. Go to Bodog. I'll put the link up there, and bet responsibly. Brent's Best Bet brought to you by Bodog. Make yourself a couple of bucks at Bodog today. Anyways, notice I didn't mention one team a whole bunch today. Kind of get a little bit disgusted with that franchise and the moves that they're making. But I'm going to do a Yankees weekend review later on this afternoon. So that'll be up probably might be out later tonight or maybe even tomorrow. But that'll be up on YouTube, and as well as our podcast, our podcast forums, everywhere you get your podcast, it's up there. Make sure you guys talk to people at the show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to calderalab.com. Again, 20% off their skincare products. And as always, go to SeatGeek.com or the SeatGeek app and use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. And as well, make sure you guys listen. On the drive home last night, I also listened to my main man, Jim, at the Fan of the Van podcast. Great talk about the Yankees last night, his State of the Union address with the Yankees. So make sure you check his show out, and then make sure you check out Dave. Like I said, he was moonlighting a little bit with Aaron from Brilliant Sports. Aaron's been on our show a few times. We've been on theirs. It's always great to listen to those guys. But Aaron and Dave put on a pretty decent show yesterday. Had a lot of entertaining. Kept me awake on the drive home from Medicine Hat last night to Lethbridge, Alberta after that one. Anyways, great show. It was a great show today. Thank you very much for listening. Major League Baseball is in a really good spot. Like I said, make sure you guys tune into the games. Listen to 1420 Sports Bar podcast. Talk to people about the show. And as always, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Dave and I'll be back tomorrow night for the first time in a long time. So we'll talk then.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Root for the whole team. They don't win, it's a shame. Now it's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out at the old ball game. Now let's root for the home team. They don't win, it's a shame. Now it's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out at the old ball game. Oh, what a game!
A message from
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer with sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. let's get into it.